Quincy Williams came unimpeded on a blitz, and that was what might go down as the biggest hit of the year in the National Football League. Somehow, Kyler Murray did not fumble that ball away. His helmet was dislodged, and that sets up a second and 18, and they're able to convert, and then before you know it, they're back in the end zone again. Murray hits Marvin Harrison Jr. Go ahead, you're waving to me.
Actually, he did fumble the ball.
Yep.
But Quincy got up so fast, he didn't recognize that he didn't have the ball. Kyler recovered the ball by his feet while he was trying to get up, but he was dazed. If if Quincy would have stayed on top of him, he's a dead player with his helmet off. And that ball was still sitting there around his shins. And it was another Jet player there. But if he would have recognized it, he was so excited that he made probably one of the hardest hits, unseen hits that he's ever made. He didn't recognize that the ball was actually loose, and the ball wasn't in Kyler's hands. As soon as Kyler got hit, he dropped the ball, and he landed on top of it, but he didn't have it. And while Quincy was celebrating, he picked the ball up. The little things.
Little things.
Now, that's exciting that what he did. It was an amazing hit, way to dial it up. But when you're losing during the football season, it's like things like that that's like, man, we got the hit, but man, we could have got the ball. And nobody was around. Everybody had stopped. If you go back and watch it, you'll see Kyler get up and reach him and grab the ball by his knees and grab it. But that ball was free. I mean, listen, if you could show that consistently that you can't stop it, you're going to continue to see it. And you're going to continue to see 12 personnel. You're going to continue to see, saying that this is how we adjust to it. You got to, in my opinion, you have to go to a 3-4 when you have that. You got to have some form of a heavy package. And it can't be, bringing an extra linebacker at the second level, walking a safety down. I need 3 defensive tackles in there. So I got 3 over there, 3, and I got 2 over there, 2, and the center's the extra guy. And now let me see if you can't double team. So now you got to block Quinnen one-on-one. You can double Kinlaw. But then now, whoever you decide to put there, whether it's Clemens, whether it's Taylor, put him in that gap right in between the B gap. You can't double because the tackle, you can double with the tackle, but then I got a fighter's chance that way. But when I have 4 and they got 6, 2 tight ends on the line paired up, tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle, that's 7 people. That's 7 people against 4. Who's going to win that battle? Unless you got 2 fat dudes, it doesn't usually work out when you go 4 against 7 because that allows them to double team. You don't know who's the double team coming to.
Takeaways. What would you say? What would you point to and say why they haven't been there?
So when a team can run the ball on you, it creates play action opportunities. So a lot of your defensive plays are one-on-one, right? Because you're committing so much to trying to stop the run that the linebackers have to respect the run. So if it's a play fake, you have to step up. That creates a lot of horizontal space. Come on, man, you saw the old itch screen yesterday, right? You saw all the routes you saw was horizontal. It's very few vertical shots, horizontal. That's because they know that they've earned the respect of the linebackers knowing they have to come downhill. So that just creates space. And then now you got the defender having to chase through traffic. And then especially if you're chasing a tight end, even though you can run with a tight end, if you're running behind a tight end because you have to be in a trail position, he's 6'5". He's kicking your shin every other step, right? So then, he basically just positions and bodies you out. And then you end up jumping on his back, no matter if you're faster than him or not, because you have to stay in relation. Because if you get in front of him, he stops and goes back the other way. You have to be in a trail relationship. Usually what you do is when people are doing all that, and the linebackers have to have good eyes, but they got some inexperienced linebackers out there. Like the backside linebacker, like yesterday when they had the big boot, it's the backside linebacker that's supposed to see it. The front side linebacker is play side. Of course, the tight end can be there, act like he's blocking and run past him, but the backside linebacker has to be slow and understand he has to check the backside gap, the front side gap, and let me look at him. That's a problem. They're trying to make other people's plays. It's not your play. And that's what happens when you start losing. You start reaching and trying to do other people's job instead of doing your job. So that now the coach has to coach two positions instead of one.
Yeah, you always speak about farming your own land over the
Yeah,
years.
man.
You can start pressing, and then you actually, instead of helping, you're creating a second void
Another
as
problem.
opposed. Yeah. All right. So flipping to the offensive side of the ball, Jets moved the ball early. They had a number of drives where they sustained the football, right? And we saw them moving it between the 20s, but they weren't finishing possessions. What do you make of where they are offensively right now?
I don't know who they are, or what they do well. And I don't know if they know. Like, I don't know what their bread and butter runs are. I don't know what their bread and butter pass combinations are. And so, and the thing is, like, the best I think I've seen the offense look, people can talk to the Texans game. That was cool. But for me, it was against the Bills. And
Yep.
that game featured a bunch of shifts and motions. Remember, it's the first game out, featured a lot of shifts and motions. And what Aaron has to realize is he doesn't need answers to the test. Everybody else does. So here's what's happening, in my opinion. When Aaron Rodgers goes to the line of scrimmage and it's 18 seconds and he's going through talking to everybody, right? He's getting everybody to tell him what to do, field general. But me as a linebacker, me as a safety, what that allows me to do is to look at you for 18 seconds without a distorted view. So when I see you, I'm looking like, this 3-by-1. Aaron's still talking. One thing I can do when there's not a lot of motions, I can communicate to everybody. I can say, watch this, watch that. I can start looking and man, these linemen, their hands look a little light. Alert bird, right? I can look and say, hey man, this guard is leaning back. Alert the pull. Alert the pull lets me tell the front side linebacker, hey man, be ready to come downhill like a banshee. I think this guy's pulling. And then it also allows me to tell the backside tackle, hey man, you get in the back block. So now everybody's more prepared for the play, right? Because I had 18 seconds of watching. When we see it look like a fire drill, it's when God. What game was that? Remember the Jacksonville game against this year, Jacksonville and Buffalo?
Yeah.
When it was all those shifts in motion that everybody
Right.
running. Hey, hey, hey! It was frantic, right?
Yep.
When you shift in motion, it creates chaos to the defense because sometimes you have to change the strength call. Close left, okay. Reload. Close right. Everybody has to move. Then you have to say, all right, deuce over here. All right, pack over here, right? You have this. Then you got to say, all right, knife. So now you got to communicate. And all it takes is one person not to get it right, and he's out of his gap. You win. Primarily just because you created movement. You forced communication. And what Aaron's not doing is not forcing communication because you're not motioning and shifting. He doesn't need it, but his teammates need it, right? Because for your offense, if you're going in motion and nobody goes with you, then now you know for sure that it's a zone or a man. Right? It reaffirms what you assume. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need that affirmation because he already knows because he's been around long enough. He has different keys that he can get his stuff from. Other people need those keys, and that's the problem. Sometimes when you play with a great player, they assume that everybody else is great and think great, but that's not the case. Like I remember when I was coaching, I said all the time by Singletary. He'd be like, "Man, didn't you see that?" No, I didn't. Like you see it, that's why you're one of the greatest players ever played the position. Because
Yeah.
you see stuff I don't see. No, I did not. I absolutely didn't see it. So Aaron is expecting 10 people on the field to see what he sees, but they don't. So he has to communicate it to them. And by the time that happens, the defense has already had an opportunity to decipher what they think it's going to be. And they're allowed to play fast because guess what? Once I see the clock get underneath 2 seconds or 3 seconds, man, whatever hut you doing, I'm firing off because if it's not hut, it's either a delayed game, it's not going to be an offsides. So I'm firing off. So now I'm getting off the ball faster.